Course in Miracles. One thing to keep in mind is that there's not a lot of learning isn't necessary. And in fact, it's tempting to stop doing something like the Course because you think, oh, I kind of already know what it's going to say.
Right.
You're like that because it is repetitive.
Yeah.
So it's not about what you learn, even though for some reason every time I read it, I'm like, oh, it feels like I see something in a new way. I think there is learning to be had.
Of course.
However, the learning isn't important. What's important is the reminding of yourself that
Awareness.
what you see isn't there, and what I'm upset with isn't what I'm upset with, and all those subtle little things that have covered up my awareness of love, and there's so many actually there's so many practices out there and so many philosophies and so many religions and so many spiritual things out there that actually were great. They're really helpful. But one of the things that I got stuck in it for years and years and years, and I'm still tempted to do it today, is to learn another one and another one and another one.
Sure.
Because I love, it's one of my
Same with Sue.
it's one of my favorite things. I love learning
I
all
think
this
all
stuff.
three of us
Yeah.
do, but
I really love it, and I actually still do it.
yeah.
But the thing that's important, it's not a bad thing to do that. The thing that is important is to stick with something long enough, just so that you can go deeper with it.
Sure. Yeah. I'm
All
on 4 things right now.
Yeah. So that's fine. Again, you got just remember what's the purpose,
Yeah.
and that's a good course question is, what's the purpose of this?
Yeah.
What's the because there's always a purpose, and in fact, everything in your life it has a purpose, and the purpose has been assigned, and it's actually a purpose that's predestined. That's right. It's the purpose has been assigned before you have this thing called being alive. Because being alive isn't really being alive. It's just what we think of as being in a body most of the time.
Yeah.
And the purpose, once again, not to blow the whole ending and be a spoiler, but the purpose is to forgive it, to let it go. Okay, the end. I guess we'll do it more anyway, because what else are we gonna do?
Yeah. We are connecting in the mornings.
That's
and
right.
It
It is true. It is true. There's so much beauty in every single moment. So much beauty in this time right now. So much beauty in Layla's husband.
He's walking by. Bye, babe. I love you.
Jared just walked by.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh, he turned around right when he said that. I don't even know if you heard me. That's funny.
What'd you say?
I said so much beauty in Layla's husband.
I think he did. Did he? Maybe.
He went.
He did. He
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Anyway, here we are, and
Focus.
everything that we have is where we need.
Sorry.
Is everything we need is what we have.
Yeah.
Verse 10, where we left off last time, going to 11. The use of miracles in chapter 1 of the text. The use of miracles as spectacles to induce belief is a misunderstanding of their purpose. 11. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It's a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. Prayer is an interesting notion because I grew up with prayer as more like magic. Magic is, the Course says magic is we're going to change the world. And prayer, my whole life was, I'm going to say the right words. I'm going to say it enough times. I'm going to get it clear. I'm going to find the right answer. I'm going to beg and plead and repeat and slowly induce myself into a different person, creating different results, to have a different state, something. There's, oh God, something, And, but that's not what prayer is. The words that we use or the chants that we engage in or the mantras, or all these things. They're for sure not bad. They're actually wonderful. But it's not prayer. Prayer is an open state. Prayer is an open, energetic state where we have removed the blockages, and we can be in communion. In a state of prayer, we're able to receive knowledge, and knowledge is what we've always had. It's like being able to tap into the unconscious. Being in a receptive state for the unconscious might even be a good tagline. Yeah, tagline, or like it means the same, whatever that word is. There's a word that means the same as prayer.
If you don't mind me saying,
sure.
When we were doing a course at church, they had us go to this park. We all met up, our Bible group, and they were like, okay, today we're going to pray for an hour. And so, like, everyone walked their own direction. Me and Jared went together, but, like, you walk and then you pray for an hour. And they're like, pray for, your friends, your family, your enemies. Oh. And so we prayed for everybody. You're supposed to write, like, a page of prayer per person. And so we started writing, prayers for the ones closest to us. And then I wanted to write a prayer for my sister-in-law because we weren't, getting along at the time. We are now, but, And so my thinking towards her, and when I prayed, when you pray, I feel like it was hard to say bad things. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking of her in like a happier way, because I was praying for her, which I hadn't ever done before. So I don't know. For me, I feel like prayer is like a love letter.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to say, like, fix her. That wasn't in my prayer, Please fix her. It was all like, it just flowed.
Yeah, well, you could tell you're praying when your energetic state changes.
Yeah,
and your feelings are just indicators of that.
Yeah.
And so, is the prayer working? I think it's working if I start to feel better, if I start to be more hopeful, if I start to see someone else as the same. At least, we could, if someone's not the same as us, or someone, if I look out and I only see spirit, I don't even see bodies, that's good. That's what Jesus did, for example. But if I can't get to that point, which is probable, like who does that? All of us walking around with bodies, we rarely do that, if ever. I could do baby steps. I can say, for example, hey, they're doing the best they can, and then I'm like, well, they're pretty big assholes. I don't know if they're doing the best they can. And it's like, well, let's think about it. If I was brought up the way they were brought up, and I was crazy, the crazy thinking and the abuse and the life of cheating and the guilt that they have and this and that, if I did all that, engaged in all that, maybe I would think the way that they would. Maybe I would do that. Maybe they are just like me. And so you can kind of baby step into sameness. And that's the prayer says there's only love and fear. Well, there's also only sameness and difference. It's saying the same thing. Do I look out to find sameness, or do I look out to find difference? Yeah. And most of the time, as humans, we're tempted to look out and find difference.
Yeah, I'm trying to find sameness in a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, because it's there. It's always there. The person that you hate the most or gives you the most trouble, if you were the only two people stranded on an alien world, that story we talked about earlier, they'd be your best friends. Yeah. You'd be like, oh my gosh, a human. I've wanted to see another human for so long. I've been so homesick. You'd give them a hug and a kiss. And they're the person that was previously the bane of your existence.
Sure, yeah.
So prayer could be simple. Like, there's this prayer called the Gayatri. It's speaking of Sue and her cool, awesome old prayers. Gayatri is a really old one, and it's in Sanskrit, I believe. And there's something about Sanskrit that is, it's written in an ancient language that the sound, there's something about sound and spoken word that created all things. And Sanskrit is actually closer to that original creation. And so it said that when you chant these things in Sanskrit, it's helpful to actually use the Sanskrit And so I love that prayer in Sanskrit, but but the basic gist of the prayer is, God who is everywhere, I thank you for all of it. I see you emerging as all of it. Awaken to me the one great truth. And that truth is that I am all of it. Not the one saying the prayer, but the original identity of who I am before I wanted the experience of being not who I am.
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing. It's like I'm looking around, I'm seeing differences. Oh, they're not differences. Oh, they're the same. Oh, wow, they're not so bad. Wow, actually, I can be thankful for this. Oh, look over there, another thing that's different. Oh, they're not that different.
I know. I let people cut me off now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the freeway is a wonderful
'Cause I
opportunity
was that
to
person,
practice.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was me one
Yeah,
time.
I've done that
That was
before.
just me like 10 years ago.
That's right. Oh yeah.
Or yesterday, whatever.
Oh, for sure, man. People get nuts on me, and I'm like, I don't freak out on them, but once in a while, if they're behind me and they're freaking out and they're like honking or getting nuts on me, I'll just slow down a little bit. Yeah.
Slow them down.
You know,
Everyone needs a little slower downer.
Well, I'm doing it not out of love, because out of retaliation, right? And then I'm like, wow, is this necessary?
Yeah.
Talk myself out of it. I'm like, all right, go ahead.
Samesies. I think the first time that I tried to see the same in other people was, I don't know if it was a show that I was watching or a friend told a story about Jesus and his followers and how he was saying, follow me, serve me. And they were like, we are serving you, or something like along. Don't quote me.
Mm-hmm.
Totally messing this up. But
Layla once said.
but like he was like, you're not serving me because you walk by me in the street, and they're like, that was just a beggar or whatever. And he was like, no, that's me. That is me. I'm in him, or something like that. And I was like, oh, everybody. He's in everybody, and he's in me, and we're all the same. And that's when I was like, now I got to see everybody like that, because it put it together for me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. The beauty is, here's the beauty, and one of the things that the Course says actually is, when you bring salvation to your brother, you are saved. And it's not like you're giving your brother something, or you're Jesus and you're bringing salvation to the world, come to me, I am Jesus, which is a full-on egoic strengthener, once again, I'm special. What it's saying when you bring salvation to your brothers and you are saved is that your filter is changed and your world's changed, and my suffering and my crucifixion and my all the stuff that is against me and hurting me and attacking me is my judgment. And to save my brother and see them as innocent, I see them innocent. Now they're saved, right? If they were guilty and now they're innocent, well, that's a good definition of being saved. Now they're saved. Well, did they change to be saved? They didn't change. What changed? My judgment. If I release my judgment, who else is saved? I'm saved, because I'm the only one that was the juror, that was the prosecutor and the juror in that scenario. And so we all get to be saved. No one goes anywhere, and all of a sudden the world's different.
Okay.
All right. 11. That was 11.
Yeah.
Your prayer is received, and through miracles, love is expressed.
Yep.
Miracles, verse 12. Miracles are thoughts. Thoughts can represent the lower or bodily level of experience, or the thoughts, or they can represent the higher or spiritual level of experience. One makes the physical, and the other creates the spiritual. Interesting verse, and it points to the real world versus the miscreation. So the Course says that the world that we're in is the miscreation. It's the world that I have made. I will give to you, Lord, the world that I have made. And that's my world. That's separation. It's a world of separation. The real world is also not the real world, but it's at least the miscreation through the eyes of the Holy Spirit, which has one foot with with God and one foot here with us, so to speak. And it is a world based on love. Well, the expression of love, because love is not in the miscreation. And so, either way, thoughts are creating either world. It's the same. It's a fancier way of saying you're making it up. You might as well make up something good.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm?
13?
13. Miracles are both beginnings and endings, and so they alter the temporal order. They are always affirmations of rebirth, which seem to go back but really go forward. They do the past in the present.
Undo.
Oh, they undo the past in the present. That does make a difference, huh?
Yes.
They undo the past in the present and thus release the future.
That makes sense. Yeah, only because you explained this before, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And why is that?
Miracles are both the beginnings and endings because it's the ending of one and the beginning of another, because they're affirmations of rebirth, because we are undoing the past, which means when we're undoing the past, that part of us, this is how I understand it, that
Mm-hmm.
part of us is like dying and we're rebirthing into a new person, a new part of us.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're going to explain it totally different, but that's how I would see it.
It's just that the past is just a thought, and the future is also just a thought. It has nothing to do with reality. And so when we release our concepts, our thoughts, it changes the world. So the world's never changing. Remember that projector in the back of your head that's shooting out your eyeballs and projecting onto the screen of consciousness. It's just this movie we're watching is changing. And we can change that film constantly. And that film, that movie that we're watching is, it's alive because of the light of God. We're watching life. But the in particular images that mean something aren't real. You know, the frequency changes and the sand shifts, and now we're looking at a new pattern and we're like, oh, the past. Oh, shoot, I wish I could change the past, but we can't. Look, that form, it's set in stone. I am who I am. You are who you are. Thus we suffer. But
victims of what has happened to us, and so
Mhm.
we suffer.
yeah, we become victims, and then if you are a victim, you can't change.
Yeah, I try to teach my kids to not dwell on the past and just learn from it.
Yeah,
No regrets.
I mean, you could definitely do that. To an extent, it's confirming that it's real if you want to learn from it.
Yeah.
Because learning from the past is actually the only thing we're doing.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't work very well. Because, once again, if we know the meaning of something,
Right.
it's because we've learned from the past.
We're projecting into the future, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to happen again, or we're learning
Yeah.
that it could happen again.
But it is a form of learning to be aware enough to unlearn and to release.
Okay.
I mean, that is a learning.
Yeah, of course.
So we're shifting a little bit in our savviness of how we're learning.
Mm-hmm.
Right. More? What do you think?
Yeah, we're on a roll here.
We're cooking now. Jeez.
Eventually we'll get through all of these and go into chapter 1.
Oh, I know. That's going to be crazy.
Sorry, there's a little part of me that's like, wait, so we're actually saying to learn from mistakes is actually not the right thing to do, because when when we see what we did as a mistake and we're like, okay, well, I don't want that to happen again, that's a fear response. And so is that why that's, I don't mean to
No,
stop
yeah.
the roll, but
I think that's what he's saying is, like, yeah, you can learn from it so that you don't do it again, but you're also like replaying it in your mind, and you have that fear response, so you're not looking at it with like fresh eyes where you're judging it, right?
Yes. if you want to try to have something not have happen again, you are saying it's bad, and to say it's bad has to say it's real. And so, there's we're the course is talking about reality, non-dual. It's a non-dual manuscript, and so it's sometimes not very helpful in what we call the real world, in our created world. If you want to get somewhere with a tool in our miscreated world, the course is often not very helpful. If you want to remove the blockages to love, that's where the course comes in, and so
You don't think that I'm sorry, you don't think that removing the blocks to love is actually going to be more help us to be more effective? Because I'm just like, because I feel like yes, like there is always that, like the criticism of non-dual teachings is that it really it can really encourage like spiritual bypassing. But I don't, is the course, like if we do follow the course to the letter, would we, like, is the only way to be spiritually bypassing? Like, does the course not have that's not a misunderstanding and the misrepresentation of the course? Like, that's actually, do you think, what it's saying?
the course is saying that there's only one reality, and that is love. It's not even trying to teach it. It's just trying to help us to be aware of the blockages to love. And we do that through forgiveness. And the way that we experience that more is just to be aware of all our unforgiveness. And if we have an agenda or a goal, whatever our goal is, it's certainly not bad. There's no recognition that there is a bad goal.
Our goal's ego.
Goals are ego. Yeah. So all it's saying is that to have an agenda, to have one outcome is good and one outcome is bad, it becomes one of those blockages to love, because it's an affirmation that this world is real, and that there is separation, and that there is a good outcome and there is a bad outcome, and one outcome I'm going to be happy, and one outcome I'm going to be sad. You could, for sure, engage in the world in bliss and be very effective at doing stuff. It's not a problem to be effective. It's just, can I stay in this fluid state of high frequency, forgiving everything that comes my way, and be fully effective in my job? For sure I can, but I don't need any particular outcome. And as soon as I need a particular outcome, once again, it's not a bad thing, but it's a blockage to the ultimate reality of I can't be separate from all that I am. I can't be separate from ultimate joy and peace.
Yeah,
I can't be separate from my contentment. What is contentment? Contentment is I don't want anything else. And the reason I don't want anything else is not because I'm giving up the good stuff. It's because I am everything. I can't be separate. Not that I don't want to be separate. I don't want anything else, but I can't have anything else because I am everything. Your experience is my experience. It's not a separate, I don't have to be jealous because it's our experience.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, being, it could be a great sales tool. It could be a great life tool to achieve things. But the reason it becomes helpful to an extent is people can be terrified of new things and terrified of taking risks. And the people that achieve great things, they take giant risks, and sometimes they don't even know what they're doing. They're just like compelled, right? And then after the fact, 10 years later, they look back and be like, oh, I never would have taken that risk.
Sure.
But it's that very risk that gave them relational success or business success or spiritual success.
And the ego got them there?
To an extent, yeah. I mean, the ego is not bad. It's just this pattern that we're in.
Sure.
The ego is just a pattern
Yeah.
that it's that frequency that is moving the sand on the membrane that looks like a thing. It's not, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that answer that, Sue, or were you meaning something different?
No, I think we're on the same track. It's just, one of those things I think that needs to marinate a bit. So thank you.
We'll re-listen.
Yeah.
And
for
yeah,
sure.
and continue to ask questions because I'm curious.
Yeah. Well, spirituality is getting very popular, more and more popular, more and more mainstream.
For sure.
And when the spiritual teacher or the spiritual program will promise you to get to the next level,
You're not.
it's the same game.
Ego.
It's an ego game.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game. It's a fun game. I mean, we're obviously in the game.
Yeah.
I think I'm in a body. I think I'm in a body most of the time.
Yeah.
If you have a glimpse of you're not in a body and everything is good in your world, no matter what happens to the body, it's actually a really wonderful accomplishment.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I
and-
came home yesterday and I like almost cried when I walked into my house and I was like, I love my house. Because I used to complain about it
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we need a bigger house. We need
Yeah.
more. And I just like, and I went around the corner and Jared was watching TV and I was like, babe, we're so lucky.
He's like,
I'm
oh,
crying thinking
no.
about it.
He's like, my wife's crazy. Yeah. You're like,
He
no.
loved it too. He's like, we are lucky.
Yeah. There's a word called householding in the Eastern worlds. Where in the East, it's really normal for someone to be a guru or a yogi, or I'll be on that path. The guys that are painted skin and white, and they sit and they've committed their life for spiritual pursuits, and they forsake everything, and they beg for their food every day. But it's actually a respected field.
Yeah.
Different culture. Like in the West, people are like, get a job.
Yeah.
But over there, it's actually it's a respected thing. It's like, okay, that's a good path.
Yeah.
But there's also this thing called a householder, and a householder is someone who has the same commitment for the spiritual path to find themselves. Know thyself. That classic Greek statement. Whoever said that?
Sure.
Plato, Aristotle. I don't know. Somebody smart.
One of them.
Yeah.
Really
Know
good guys.
thyself. It's on the Parthenon. I don't know. It's on some
Stop trying to be cool.
Greek marble thing chiseled in there. Know thyself.
Okay.
But know thyself is the greatest challenge, and it is knowing thyself is the way to be happy. That's
Well,
really
without-
what we want.
I think without those people, the beggars or the people you're talking about before wouldn't be able to eat, because if everybody was doing that, then everybody would be stillness and like praying,
Well, yeah, according to the ego.
and nobody's better than anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Who knows how it works?
Okay.
How it works is also an ego question. How does it work? How can it work? I got to make sure.
Who fucking
Maybe it
cares?
will. I don't know. What's more important is the heart condition. And so the householder, though, instead of going off into a cave or sitting on the road, the householder says, I'm committed to know thyself. I'm committed for my spiritual growth at all costs. And so I'm going to use this life as my cave. And I'm going to do all the stuff I need to do as an employee, as a wife, as a husband, as all the stuff that's been put on me, and I'm going to embrace it all. And that's what's sitting in the cave and meditating all day long is anyway, right? You just things come in and you release it. Things come in your mind and you release it.
Okay.
And so we can actually be in that way. Everything in your life becomes the next tool and the next helper to enlightenment, right? People want to awaken. People want to be enlightened on the spiritual path and spiritual journey, and join the spiritual program, pay $10.99 a month, and guaranteed enlightened in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's possible right here. We're actually in that program, and if you become a householder, you can say, "This is my program. It's already been custom made for me." And now my complaint about my little house, or my complaint about my little bathroom, or my kids that don't go to bed, or my lack of spiritual status in the spiritual community and followers on Instagram, and whatever complaint that I may have personally, all those are part of my program that I get to let go of in perfect time as a householder.
I really like that. Yeah. Thank you for introducing us to that word too, because I think that's kind of, I hope I'm not cutting you off, but that's, I think, where I'm like kind of struggling and trying to figure out the balance between as well. Like how, because like I do feel this very strong calling to the spiritual teachings,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't be like I feel this like I need to, get to whatever, and this need to be right, and the need to know, and the need to all the things that were programmed into me since I was 4 years old. It's like feeling like it's getting in the way, but that's a good judgment. Whereas like there's like recognizing that was put there for a reason, and learning to accept and integrate things. So
Householder. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I feel complete now. Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Good place to end.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Sue. I know that's something that you're like have been talking about, that you're working on for a while. So
Yeah.
the need to be right.
Oh yeah, I've been working on being a householder too. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, ladies.